is a Sunday breakdown from the 31st of March to April 4th. So starting off with gold, we're at a higher high. On the weekly, that means we'd be looking for a wick pullback continuation, but we don't have any area of interest for it to pull back to. It's just at an all-time high. Yeah, even if the daily pulls back, there's just no area of interest for it to pull back properly to, unless it pulls back and then it'll shift. So nothing on that. GBP NZD weekly at a all-time high. Daily is bearish. Daily would have to shift. We can have previous structure and then it comes back. So daily needs to shift bullish basically. So here we're just gonna put down US oil basically at TP. Let me see the daily. Yeah, the daily. Yeah, this is basically there already, so we're not interested in US oil. USD NOK. Oh, that was the wrong time frame we're looking at. Okay, so here we're at a lower low. If we're doing counter trend trades, it would have to come all the way back up here. Daily would need to shift. Basically, daily just needs SOS. Okay, so here we're at broken pass. Weekly structure would be here. Okay, so basically daily just needs SOS. Okay, so yeah, okay. So this is the first weekly point. If we've broken past that like this, we can't go to the next point like that. This means the trade is over because it was supposed to be from the lower low all the way up to here. Now that it's here, you have to be looking for a pro trend trade because now it's had a pullback, right? So now you can see if it comes back here, you can see that it's had a pullback because you're supposed to be looking for that all the way down here. Now it's already had a pullback. And you can tell because this is supposed to be the first structure point and you're already past that. So now you know you're already past the first structure point on there, then your brain should automatically go to saying that okay, we should be looking for weekly pullback and go. Here we're at broken pass. Weekly structure would be here. Daily is counter trend. Dailies haven't. Our daily is in trend, so the 4 hour would need to shift. It needs 4 hour SOS. USD HKD. The weekly. This is the range right here. The weekly. Weekly is at an area of interest, and the daily is bullish. And the daily looks like it just broke out. Well, it didn't just break out this accumulation, but trend looks like it's just broken out. So we could look for. So with these daily accumulations, basically it's just the same thing as a regular accumulation level. So here is one and here is another. Just when you see those four wicks in there, like that base and that four wicks, then you know that's an accumulation zone. So the second a price breaks out of there on the daily, all you have to do is go to the 4 hour, right? And the 4 hour is going to pull back, and then you're going to get in on that and go. It's the same thing when it broke out here. The daily closed outside, and you need it to be like a significant break. Like this is a pretty good break, you know? Like if you're like this is the level to there, like from there, that's a pretty good break. This is a uh this I would consider a good break. You just need the candle to actually break out of that zone, right? And once it breaks out, then the 4 hour will do that. And that's where you get in on it. Or because of this accumulation level on here, we just broke out 4 hour pullback. Okay, we'll just be looking for a proper daily pullback. So if we get a proper daily pullback, because we so yeah, like I said, just know when you have that daily accumulation, you only need a proper 4 hour pullback, okay? Already reacted all the weekly and the dailies and trends. So basically, yeah, so looking for proper daily pullback. USD CAD on the weekly, we are bearish. Weekly is just not at an area of interest, so we're just not interested. NZD USD weekly basically being super choppy. So when the weekly is like this, we're just not going to be interested in it. Basically, it's choppy and it's in a range. So USD, we're just going to wait for this basically to break out of that as well. Euro NZD weekly is at a higher high. We've had rejection candle. We've just rejected bulls. This is also bullish, but we've had, well, we're at a higher high with, it's not really an indecision candle. Daily is bullish as well too. So if we're looking for a wick continuation, there is basically nothing. No area of interest for the wick continuation pullback, and it's a pro trend. So yeah, with this you can't go counter trend because we had this bullish engulfing rejection candle on here. So clearly, like you would not be looking to sell in this. There's a couple trades that I did get caught in because I didn't realize this yet. But yeah, whenever you're seeing just like this candle here, this is a indecision candle is basically showing that there is no selling pressure, right? So if you were to try to get in on that, then maybe you could have dropped down if all the time frames were aligned, but then it would pop right back up on you that exact same week, right? So you should be, when you see this is a rejection candle here. This is showing that we're bearish. We've rejected both like buying pressure. We're clearly bearish.
this here is showing that we're rejecting selling pressure, right? So you would be looking to after this candle, you can sell down to here, but after this candle, you can't do anything because price then was looking to go back up. This is what I learned last week.
Okay, so the weekly is bullish. The daily is saying the same thing. One second. For the weekly would pull back. It just needs to pull back to the daily area of interest or weekly area of interest, but we don't have any. One touch, two touch, three touch, maybe something like that. So if it pulls back to there, and we can look. So we just need just a proper 4 hour pullback, it seems like, to a daily area of interest. So if it's going to do that, the 4 hour is going to need to do a proper pullback and shift. So Euro HUF on the weekly. So we're bearish on the weekly. We've pulled back to this weekly area of interest right here. The daily needs to shift. Basically this, we'll just put this range so we remember. Use the SGD. Let's see, the weekly is now at a lower low. The weekly's had a pullback to potential area of interest. Let's see, there we've pulled back and one touch, two touch, three touch. Let's say that's a decent area of interest. So we've pulled back to the weekly area of interest. The daily definitely needs to have a shift because the daily is kind of weird right now. So just waiting for the daily SOS. GJ, we are currently, yeah, we are bearish. So currently bearish, haven't reacted off a weekly area of interest or anything like that. So we're just not interested in it yet. Euro JPY, same thing. We're bearish. We're here. Have we reacted off a weekly area of interest? One touch, two touch. Yeah, I would say so. So we've reacted off this weekly area of interest and the daily is bullish. So the daily needs to just shift, just break under, pull back and go. And since it's weekly, we'll be targeting the weekly take profit, which is just right down here. Basically, this needs a daily shift, right? Did we write that down? Okay. AUD JPY on the weekly or at a lower low. Price is kind of pulled back here. Let's see if it pulled back to anything. Area of interest. I would say it did. Just do that. We don't need to make it super complicated, but here we have one touch, two touch, pull it down a little. We have three touch here, four touch, five touch, six touch. So we're at area of interest. This would be our lower low. Daily would then need to shift. So the daily is bullish. So let's say this breaks above, shifts lower, then we can come down and just take it to this TP here. It's kind of a tight range, but it might happen. Euro PLN weekly or at a lower low. So we're at a lower low. We basically pulled back an area of interest. We have one touch. This is all the way to 2017. So yeah, we're not going to bother with that zone. Dailies, weekly's pulling back. The daily has shifted structure to bullish. So then we can look for a counter trend trade basically up to the structure.
Look how messy this daily looks. Like it's basically like double top. So
So then we
when you
can look
go to
for
the
weekly's pulling
weekly,
back.
you can see that the weekly is clearly telling you that there's no selling pressure because of that weekly rejection candle, right? So this coming week is not the week to be selling after last week told us that there's massive buying pressure, candles pulling back. So we want to sell on here, but we can't. And we have, area of interest of one touch and then two touch and three touch all the way back in 2018. So this is just not valid. And then yeah, just that candle pretty much telling you that we are rejecting sellers. Like we've came down to this point where you said you would be TP. We've rejected that. Now we're going back up. So there's no sells anymore.
This is all the way to 2017, so yeah, we're not going to bother with that zone. Dailies, weekly's pulling back. The daily has shifted structure to bullish. So then we can look for a counter trend trade basically up to this area around here, and the daily is in trend. So this is a daily high or low. So the 4 hour needs to be in trend as well too. 4 hours bullish, so 4 hour needs or 4 hours bearish. 4 hour needs a shift of structure. USD PLN, we are at a lower low on the weekly, and the daily is needs a shift. So the 4 hour needs to be, and the daily is.
So just looking at this daily, you would probably want to, let me see if I can change this. I want something like green. Like this is the range here, right? So you would want price to break out and then, so this would be the daily accumulation on here. So you would have the 4 weeks for the daily accumulation. You wait for price to break out. You wait for the 4 hour pullback, and then you can take it up to here.
In trend. So this is a daily high or low. So the 4 hour needs to be in trend as well too. 4 hours bullish. So 4 hour needs a or 4 hours bearish. 4 hour needs a shift of structure. USD PLN, we are at a lower low on the weekly, and the daily is confirming that. Doesn't look like it's shifted. Yeah, at a lower low
So
on the weekly.
look at this weekly on here. It's at a lower low with an indecision. It showed a bullish engulfing candle there. But then the one that we need to look at is our previous week. Our previous week, this is showing a bearish rejection candle. This is a strong, sorry, this is a strong bullish rejection candle. Like this rejected the buys. It's a bearish candle, but it's rejecting buys. So it's a strong bearish rejection candle for buy-in pressure. Basically, it's saying now we're going down, right? And TP is down to here. So if it's saying that it's going down, does that mean that it pulled back already to an area of interest and then it's just like too tight of a range? So if we were to, there's no like line thing on here. You have to draw everything, which is kind of annoying. It's in here. No, okay. Yeah, so if it's showing that it's rejecting like that, does that mean that we've like this area here, this is like 2021. Yeah, we could say that, right? It's like basically, yeah, yeah. So basically because we had that and it's showing this rejection, it's showing that it did a pullback and now it's rejecting. So you shouldn't be looking for buys on here. You should be looking for sells, right? So, but the range that you have is basically right there. So price would have to come and like and then drop down because you only have to here for TP. So that's just something to keep in mind. When you see that rejection candle on there, probably means that it's did a pullback and done a rejection. If not, then the daily is going to be super messy because the daily is going to be all choppy because you went up once and then you rejected back down. And the weekly, like I said, keep in mind is the next candle that the previous weekly candle is what's the most important.
And the daily is confirming that. Doesn't look like it's shifted. Yeah, we're there at a daily. So basically, we're looking for a counter trend trade. We can just take it up to the first weekly structure point or first weekly structure right there. The daily is definitely, or the 4 hour is bullish. The daily was bullish. So the 4 hour is having its proper pullback. So this one is going to be ready the soonest. And this is a nice retracement as well too. And let's see if we've pulled back to like an area of interest. We're going here. We go boom, 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 just like that. And we get all the zones basically. This is a 4 hour and we pull back. So basically, we're just looking for the accumulation break retest on here. Okay, UK oil, let's reset. We go to the weekly. Weekly is at a lower low. Weekly is at a lower low. The structure point would have been right here. We'd be targeting
It is a lower low, but there's a massive rejection candle on here. This is saying that there is no buying pressures. Like bulls try to go up and we ended up rejecting all the way down here. Massive selling pressure. So you don't want to try to buy after this. So technically you should be looking for counter trend trades, or sorry, for pro trend trades back down. The only thing is if we reject it here, we have what, like one, let's see, this is here. That's terrible. Right? Basically, this zone here, you have one touch here, two touch here, three touch here. So we rejected. This is the low here. We should be looking for sells back down to here on UK oil.
and the daily is confirming that the dailies are ready, unless the daily back here. Basically, it's already hit take profit, but if it pulls back to here, we can take it back to there. So UK oil. Okay, silver weekly is at a higher high. So if we're looking for a weekly pullback, we can pull back to a daily area of interest. We don't really have one. We pull back because this is just like one touch, two touch, three, maybe. We'll pull back to this area, and the 4 hour would need to shift. USD ZAR weekly is bullish. Had a pullback, rejected off the weekly area of interest. Nice. Daily is bullish. Nice. So we just need a proper 4 hour pullback to a daily area of interest. So daily is bullish.
So this is the same thing with the daily accumulation. So here you can see we have the 4 wicks, right? 1 wick here, 2 wick, 3 wick, 4 wick. That's considered a daily accumulation. And then look how nicely price broke out. So when you have a daily break like that, then you just wait for a 4 hour pullback and then you just go, okay? So with these ones, you don't even need confluences like that, to be honest. Just as long as the weekly isn't against you. So the weekly on here, let's see, because we have right now the 4 hour or the daily's telling us that it's bullish. We have a bullish engulfing, right? So,
Bullish. Nice. So is bullish. Had a pull.
and the weeklies also had a bullish engulfing. So we have our two confluences there. We're in trend. We've also rejected the weekly previous structure point. So here we go, head of the snake. back, first bend, second bend right here, previous structure. You can clearly see we have a weekly rejection here of an engulfing candle, right? So that's saying that we've rejected this zone. So that's 20 points right there. Another 3 or another 30 or another 10, sorry, for the engulfing. So we're at 30. And then we have the trend. So we also have the weekly trend, the daily trend, the 4-hour trend. We bounce it off of a weekly area of interest, which is another 10. Um, uh, this is the weekly stuff. And then the daily also had another bullish engulfing, which is another 10. And then when we get the A accumulation break retest engulfing, that'll be 20, right? So 30, 40, 70, 80, 90, 100. So that is a perfectly good trade. So then basically at this point, you're just waiting for the
Daily is bullish. Nice. So we can see it's good. So
yeah.
basically,
So right there on the daily, we have all the accumulate, oh, we have all the confluences, right? So you're waiting for price to do a 4-hour pullback, just some sort of 4-hour pullback, and then you can go back up on USDZAR.
lower low weekly take profit is basically right here. So the only way it's going to work is if the daily's bearish. It's a weird continuation. Daily would need to have a proper pullback. We don't really have, yeah, we don't really have an area that it can pull back to unless 1, 2, 3. If it pulls back to here, yeah, weekly with continuation need a proper daily pullback. So if we get a proper daily pullback all the way to here, then we'll be okay. So we just need proper daily pullback.
We could even do
Pullback. So if we get a proper daily
like, see if it were to be this level here, you would have that 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. So price would just pull back to here and then go back down.
pullback all the way to here, then we'll be okay. So we just need proper daily pullback. NZD, JPY, we've pulled back to a weekly area of interest. The daily needs to shift. Yeah, same category. GA, weekly is at a higher high. This is definitely the next weekly structure point. The daily is saying the same thing. The daily is bullish. Hey, this is definitely the next weekly structure.
So it's at a higher high, but there's also an indecision candle on here. So because there's an indecision candle, basically it can just like whenever we're bullish and we're taking a pro trend trade, we got to remember that we can't take a pro trend trade after a weekly indecision candle because then at a higher high, it's just going to fill it this way and then go down this way to have a pullback to then go here. So weekly, you need to remember that weekly, then double check to make sure what type of rejection we have. You know, a higher high and an indecision candle means counter trend, right? So you can't be looking for pro trend trades. And that would only be disqualified if you're at a higher high and for example, something like all basically, where do I show it? Yeah, like you're at a higher high, but then you get some sort of rejection pattern, so then you know you should be selling.
Structure point, the daily is saying the same thing. The daily is bullish. We need a proper daily pullback, but I don't see it happening off anything. Euro pound weekly is bearish, had a proper pullback, rejected off of this area. The daily is bullish. Daily needs to have a shift of structure. CHF, JPY, the weeklies had a pullback, two of one touch.
Yeah,
CHF is bearish, had a proper.
so yeah, we've had a proper pullback, but we also had a weekly rejection candle. So, and this is like in the middle of the move now, and we don't take any trades after the weekly rejection candle, right? So basically, like this is 3, this is 1, and anything in between that is mid, which is 2. And when we're at 3, we're at the area of interest. At 1 is at a lower low, you know, slash higher high, depending on which direction you're in. And then 2 is the middle. This is the middle of the trade. We don't take anything that has an indecision candle that comes there. The indecision candle has to happen here. Like we had a rejection, cool. We are now looking to sell. We would have taken that candle, right? That sell that started here when this candle pulled back. We take that down. We're trying to go all the way down to here, but now that it's rejected, then we're not interested in it anymore.
Upper pullback rejected off of this area. The daily is bullish. Daily needs to have a shift of structure. CHF, JPY, the weeklies had a pullback. One touch, two touch, three touch, four touch. Yeah, okay, so it's pullback. And what's the daily saying? The daily saying that it needs to shift. So simplest way, just shift to the take profit, which would be down here. So yeah, we need daily SOS. And GU weekly is bullish with an indecision, so we need a counter trend. Need daily SOS. And GU weekly.
So weekly is bullish with indecision candles. This is actually a bullish engulfing candle. So even as small as it is, you can still tell that it's a bullish engulfing candle. So this basically, like I said, we're going to be trading this next week on here. So if the previous week says it's a bullish rejection candle, then we can't be looking to sell on this pair, right? So basically this candle right here is an engulfing candle, engulfing this pattern, which means sells are no. So we should be taking GU off and not even looking at GU sells because it can't come down after that, after the previous week is saying that it wants to go up, right? The daily time frame is going to be in all conflict and everything with it because no one knows what to do.
Is bullish with an indecision, so we need a counter trend. The daily is currently bear bullish. Daily is currently bullish at this point. So if we are looking for this, we need the daily to shift. GBP NZD, higher high, daily needs to shift. USD NOK, daily to shift. GBP NZD, higher.
So same thing with this. This one's a little different. Well, it's at a higher high. There's no rejection weekly candle, so we'd be looking for a weekly wick pullback, right? So let's keep that in mind. See if we did that.
Higher high, daily needs to shift. USD NOK. Daily's currently bullish at this point. So if we are looking for this, we need the daily to shift. GBP NZD, higher high.
Yeah, even if the week, so yeah, this is like the weirdest pattern ever. It wants to go higher, but it's just basically a bunch of weaker candles in this like it would need to break, and then what would it pull back to? It wouldn't really have anything recently, any daily of interest recently to pull back to, right? So that's what happens when you have all those weak indecision candles at the top there.
Daily.
Basically, weak indecision candles in the same spot is not good for anything because the daily starts doing weird stuff.
USD and okay, looks like you see we didn't break it. Take profit is already here. So basically the daily would have to pull back. It's a weak continuation. The daily would need to pull back. We had the daily pull back. Yeah. We had the daily kind of pull back all the way like this, and we would have a decent enough pullback to then come back here maybe. We'll see how the range looks when it happens. Euro HUF, we've had a weekly is bearish. We've had a pullback to this zone. This zone's got one touch, two touches here, the third touch right here. So it's good. And what's the daily saying? The daily saying that it needs to have a shift. Euro SGD or USD SGD, we are currently bearish and we've pulled back to weekly area of interest. Weekly take profit would be there, and the daily needs to shift. So we're just waiting for a daily shift to structure. Euro JPY, the weekly is bearish, pull back into there. Same thing, daily needs to shift. AUD JPY, weekly is at a lower low with all these indecision candles kind of becoming choppy. Daily needs to have some sort of shift to make that happen. Weekly is at a lower low. The daily has shifted with it. So weekly is
So weekly, yeah, is at a lower low, but we have this massive rejection candle here saying that there's no selling pressure, but it isn't engulfing. So that's interesting. But then the take profit is right here as well too. So this is a weird one.
at a lower low. The daily has shifted with it. So basically,
Yeah, so being that okay, so the reason why it looks like that so weird is because yeah, and then it causes the daily to cause some sort of consolidation, right? So basically you want it to break out and then have that 4 hour pullback and then we can take it here. So yeah, the reason why it looks so weird is because of what the daily's doing is causing or because what the weekly's doing is causing the daily to look like this, to consolidate.
the Fistus needs a 4 hour. Let me continue. Let's really some sort of shift to make that happen. A lower low with all these indecision.
Yeah, so it pulled back. We had an engulfing, but oh, this is a different
And it's
pair.
kind of becoming choppy. Daily needs to have some sort of shift to make that happen.
Yeah.
Weekly is at a lower low.
At a lower low, but it's showing signs of rejection, but also an engulfing pattern. It's just a very weird time. So when it's the weekly is so confusing, right? Because basically it's kind of already started its pullback already. Like when it had this pullback, this was the time after this. This is just weird movement. So when it's moving like that, that causes the daily to range, and you need a daily breakout of the accumulation.
The daily has shifted with it. So basically, this just needs a 4 hour. I'm gonna continue. Let's go down to the 4 hour, see what's happening. 4 hour, yeah, it needs a shift. Okay, so let's see. I think we've already went through, yeah, this. I would basically say this is already, oh, this is the weekly structure here. The daily had, a weekly had a proper pullback. Well, it's not really a proper pullback. Daily needs to shift. USD HK had a week.
So this one, oh, I guess this is the 4 hour. This is the weekly. So looking at the weekly, it is an engulfing candle, but it's also a rejection candle. So this is also like interesting structure. It's very like confusing.
Yeah, this. I would basically say this is already, oh, this is the weekly structure here. The daily had, a weekly had a proper pullback. Well, it's not really
And the daily is bearish.
pullback. Daily needs to shift.
No, daily needs a shift, yeah.
USD HKD. We are currently bullish, and the daily is currently bullish. So 4 hour just needs a proper 4 hour pullback. Pullback
Exactly. See, like this time I got it right. Like the 4 hour just needs a proper 4 hour
bullish,
pullback,
and the daily is
right? Because you had the accumulation on here. You have a good breakout, so 4 wicks, one, two, boom, and then you can obviously see there's multiple ones on there. But breakout, 4 hour pullback, and then go to the next point. So if it's a counter trend, we'd have to double check to where it is. If it's pro trend, let's find out.
currently bullish. So 4 hour just needs a proper 4 hour pullback. Pullback, bullish, and pullback daily. This is the weekly structure here. The daily.
So yeah, we're basically already at the weekly TP. So we're already at the weekly TP. That's why price rejected like that, right? Because if we're doing a counter trend trade, it has to come back to the next structure point. It's right here. We've already tapped into it, so we rejected it. And like this is confusing, right? Because basically it's saying we're rejecting sells, but we're also at a proper pullback and we're rejected the proper pullback. But you can't sell just yet because this is still an engulfing, and you can't buy just yet because you would be going against the trend.
Had a weekly had a proper pullback. Well, it's not really a proper pullback. Daily needs to shift. USD HKD. We are currently bullish, and the daily is currently bullish. So 4 hour just needs a proper 4 hour pullback. We pull back, pull. We need this to pull back. Well, it's a continuation, so we need a proper daily pullback. Needs proper pullback, pull. We need this to pull back. Well, it's a continuation.
So this cannot be a continuation because it's not at a higher high. Like it would basically be like in the middle of the move. It's if it's a weekly and there's no, you're not rejecting off of anything. So this cannot be, and this can't be a rejection because you're also getting a bullish signal, right? So the rejection would have been after this first candle on here. Then you would have sold it down, caught this run on here, and then closed out. Price goes back. Now you get an engulfing saying that it doesn't want to sell anymore, but it's also saying that it doesn't want to buy anymore because it's not at an all-time high. It's like in the middle of the move. So this is just kind of gonna do some craziness and then maybe hopefully pull back deeper. Or if it pulls back deeper, that's what we're looking for.
And so we need a proper daily pullback. Needs proper daily pullback first. UK oil, we are at a lower low. We pulled back on the weekly. Let's see if we pulled back to anything. I think the zone might just be a little too thick. It doesn't look that bad actually. Here, what's the daily saying? The daily saying that it needs to shift. So we'll just wait for something like that. Daily needs to shift. Weekly is at a lower low, basically at take profit. So if we're looking for a weak pullback to a daily area of interest, maybe it can come back to like here. Just need it to come back to there. Needs a proper daily pullback, and then we can take it to TP. USD NOK, basically there already. If the daily pulls back, it has to pull back, yeah, all the way to here. So that needs a proper daily pullback. pullback. Euro PLN at a lower low. Yeah, we can use this at our weekly structure. What's the daily saying? The daily is also PLN at a lower low.
We already analyzed this already, but yeah, same thing. We're getting a rejection and we're getting a rejection that's saying that there's no selling pressure, but it's also saying that there's more buying pressure than selling pressure. So the daily is going to be all messed up because the weekly is all confused.
Oh, yeah, we can use this at our weekly structure. What's the daily saying? The daily is also
Yep.
bullish and
So same thing. I think we've analyzed this pair multiple times because it keeps moving up, right? So accumulation right here, need price to break, 4-hour pullback, go.
4 hour it needs a shift. CAD JPY on the weekly, it is, see, it's had a pullback. The only thing is I don't know if I like it because it seems like kind of a big level, but it's okay. Doable here. Lower low. Daily needs a shift. UD CAD. The weekly just looks really messy. Basically, the weekly is within this range now, so we're just gonna wait for it to break out. Okay, we're at all-time high with indecision candles. What's the daily saying? The daily within this range now, so we're just gonna wait for it to break out. Okay, we're at all-time.
We're at all-time high. We had a rejection candle, then we had another rejection candle. Like this is a weak sell candle. This is saying there's no sell pressure, right? So pretty much we can just expect price to then when like our week here is just to pull down a tiny bit and then go back up on there. But the weekly right now is just it's not selling and it doesn't have enough momentum to buy. So this is gonna look all confusing. So we wouldn't be interested in this.
Time high with indecision candles. What's the daily saying? The daily saying it's
So the daily shifted, but like I said, it's rejecting sells, right? So we're not looking to take a sell
range now,
after a
so we're just gonna wait for it
weekly
to break out.
rejection
Okay, we're at an
candle
all-time high with indecision candles. What's
like
the
that.
daily saying? The daily saying it's bearish as well. Since it's a counter trend trade, we need the 4 hour to say the same thing. So we just need the 4 hour to shift. So perfect. This is in a good spot. Use the MXN weekly. Let's see. Pull back to here. What do we got here? Not bad. Here. Yeah, I would say not bad. Let's pull back to a weekly area of interest. What's the daily saying? The daily's also saying that it's bearish. So daily saying that it's bearish. What's the 4 hour saying? The 4 hour saying that it needs a shift of structure. Euro USD weekly is bullish at a higher high. Look, what's the daily saying? The daily for USD weekly.
Weekly is bullish at a higher high, but we also can't do counter trend because we've had this rejection candle on here. So we are not interested in counter or selling Euro USD no matter what.
Is bullish at a higher high. Look, what's the daily saying? The daily saying that is ready to go counter trend because the daily is bearish. It's having a pullback, so we just need a 4 hour area of interest. That means the 4 hour needs to shift structure. So it's either going to break down and then come here. We can look for something like that. The weekly take profits, its counter trend would be this structure point right here. This just needs, yeah, 4 hour shift of structure. Weekly, lower low, indecision daily is already shifted. Needs, yeah, 4 hour shift of structure. Weekly.
Same thing with this. It's showing last week, the week before, is we're ready to buy, and then after that, it's saying that we don't have enough momentum to buy. So then if we check here, since we're not a lower low, we can see this is all the way in 2020. So this is not bad actually. This kind of looks like if we draw from that level, that line follow, we have another touch here, another touch here, another touch here. We're basically had a proper pullback, right? So proper pullback, then we'd be looking for sells down to here. So we actually need the daily and the 4 hour everything to go down to here. We're not looking for counter trend trades because and also it's going to look weird because yeah, it's the range is going to be super tight and basically we're getting rejections to buy and we're getting, yeah, basically it's saying that it wants to sell for sure. It wants to sell. So we'd be looking for sells down to here.
The lower low, indecision daily is already shifted. Cool. So then the 4 hour needs to be in trend. 4 hour just needs to shift. So we'll just say it shifts like that. Yeah, it needs 4 hour shift to structure. Yeah, it can break up like that, or it can just break down and do something. So we can say it'll do something like that. Maybe broken above. There's no proper pullback on the weekly. Counter trend. Can look to it there. What's the daily saying? The daily is back on the weekly.
So same with here, no counter trend. You would have to be looking to sell this because we've had a pullback and we're rejecting buys. So you'd be looking to sell down to this level on here. Here we have one touch, two touch. We don't really have three touch. So Euro USD JPY, we would just not be interested in this week because it hasn't pulled back to an area of interest.
Counter trend. Can look to it there. What's the daily saying? The daily is bullish. Daily's having a pullback. What's the 4 hour saying? The 4 hour saying that it needs a shift of structure. And back to silver, needs a 4 hour shift of structure. Since this is pro trend and we've had a weekly rejection, we actually need a proper 4 hour or daily pullback. We actually need a daily pullback now, so we're gonna get a daily.
This 4 hour pullback, because again, we need to automatically recognize that, hey, we have an accumulation right here, right? We have 4 wicks touching a base, so we have an accumulation right there. So once we get a break out of this accumulation, we just need a 4 hour pullback and then go, right?
Pull back and then we can start looking. Euro PLN weekly indecision. Yeah, we're looking for daily to shift. We're looking for 4 hour to shift. Higher high indecision. Weekly take profit. What's the daily saying? Daily is good. We just don't have high indecision.
So this one, same thing at GCAD. We are at a higher high. Well, we're not at the higher high anymore because we've already pulled back. We've already previous week already shows that there is no selling pressure. Sellers got depleted right here. So we're not looking for any sell. So GCAD is completely taken off because it is not looking good. The only way we'd be looking for it is if we were to get it's just too messy. Like I don't even know how to like we can't even counter trend sell this because it's telling us that it doesn't want to counter trend. So I guess if we get 1 week coming like that and then the next week actually engulfing it, but then the daily would look all messy. So I don't even know. We'll just leave it alone.
Weekly take profit. What's the daily saying? Daily is good. We just don't have an area of interest because it's, oh, actually, we're good. Need the 4 hour to shift first. Need the 4 hour to shift for the counter trend. Euro USD needs the 4 hour to shift as well. USD DKK weekly, lower low. Daily has shifted. 4 hour needs to shift. Weekly, daily shifted. 4 hour just needs to shift. 4 hour needs to shift. Perfect. Okay. These are all done. And USD HUF, weekly take profit. Daily looks like it's shifted. So daily is shifted. So then we just need the 4 hour to either shift or have a proper pullback. 4 hour probably 4 hour needs to shift. USD CZK weekly at a lower low indecision. Take profit would be here. Daily.
At a lower low, but we'll also have a bearish rejection candle on here. So this is telling us that sellers are in control. Take profit is right here. So we can't look to counter trend buy this all the way up to here when the previous week candle is telling us that it wants to go down. Even though it's not a bullish or a bearish engulfing candle, it's still a strong bearish candle because it's basically an indecision candle. Like buyers and sellers are weak, but this is also it went past this, so it's showing that sellers has more momentum than the buyers. So we cannot buy or sell this because we're stuck in limbo for now.
Daily needs to, nope, daily is in structure. It's not a bad spot for a pullback. So daily's had a pretty good pullback. The 4 hour definitely needs to shift. Needs 4 hour SOS. Use the HKD. Weekly is bullish. It's pulled back to this area of interest. Daily is bullish. You need a proper 4 hour pullback. And USD PLN weekly lower low is the daily saying. Daily's confirming and 4 hours also confirmed. This one's really good because it's basically just waiting for the accumulation break. Shift.
And again, like because we had the daily pullback, so we'll just be looking. That was a different one.
Confirming and 4 hour and USD PLN weekly low.
Right here, USD PLN. So again, we had this indecision candle on here, but it's also a rejection candle. So this is basically a rejection saying that there is no buys. So basically, this is basically saying because it's rejecting that, the upside with a strong bearish candle, it's saying that we're already at an area of interest. So is that true? If we were to go like there, it's very hard to draw like this. I don't really see anything. You could make the claim 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch, 5 touch. Yeah, so within this area to this area here, this is the zone, and we've already had a proper pullback. Well, we've had a weekly pullback, so then we'd be looking to take profit down here. So basically, that's why this candle is telling you, yeah, we rejected up there. We're looking to sell back down, but it's too short of a range, so you'll have to find a way to make it work. That's what happens when the dailies conflicting like that. Sorry, I mean that's what happens when the weeklies conflicting like that.
Lower low is the daily same. Daily's confirming, and the 4 hours also confirmed. This one's really good because it's basically just waiting for the accumulation break shift. We'll check back
What
around
happened to
7 p.m.
volume?
3. We'll see if anything happens around 7 p.m. for an entry, and that's it.